Hello, everybody. I'm Nikki Novak here in the Fandango suite at CinemaCon with the cast and the filmmaker of The Running Man. Hello.
Hello.
How are you doing? I love that I got a round of applause for that. Thank you very much, Josh. Appreciate that. I'm going to hit the ground running. We don't have a lot of time. We're going to speed through this. Glenn, you pulled some G's in Top Gun Maverick, and then I guess, you just decided I'm going to run with that. Tell me about just sort of the insanity of what you put your body through, maybe something you're really proud of, a stunt that you pulled off that you can't wait to see. Running through fire, I'm hearing?
Yeah, we got beat up on this movie, that's for sure. But it was I knew going into this one, I mean, the stakes of this movie could not be higher, and the character I play, Ben Richards, is taking real world hits. Gravity's a thing, the punches are real, the bullets are real, and I knew that my body was gonna get punished, so I just made sure to try to fortify as best as possible, but we definitely still took some licks.
What did you put your body through?
We're falling off of buildings, and we're jumping through explosions and jumping off of things, off of very fast moving objects. We do it all in this movie. I honestly was thinking about this. I don't know if we missed one. I think we kind of covered the gamut of crazy stunts in this movie.
I love it. And you have given us so many thrill rides in the past. Nobody is more perfect to adapt this crazy story than you. As far as the tone, the vibe, we know we're going to get some kick-ass music in this. Describe your version of The Running Man. What are we getting in terms of the Edgar Wright treatment?
I'd always wanted to kind of remake the book because I loved the original 80s one, but it's a very loose adaptation of Stephen King's book. And I was a fan of the book. And so when this came up with the opportunity of adapting the original novel, I was like, yes, I actually had thought about it myself. So it actually, one of those rare emails where somebody hands it to you on a plate and says, do you have any interest in The Running Man? I said, yes, I do. I have thoughts. And so I really jumped straight into it. And, I think it's that thing where getting the chance to adapt a Stephen King novel, and obviously it's a different kind of Stephen King novel because it's more of a futuristic thriller, but it's got satire in it, and it's really action-packed, and it's really intense and immersive. So that was so much fun. And also getting to, probably the most nerve-wracking part of the entire process for me was sending the script to Stephen King and waiting for his notes, which was as a fan of his since I was 11, I was like, oh my God, I can't believe this is happening.
Did he write no notes?
He loved it, which was he's been very, very supportive through the process.
Hello, two-time Oscar nominee Coleman Domingo. How are you?
Good. How are you?
In consecutive years.
years.
Thank you.
You're playing a host, I hear. A TV host.
I am.
Yes,
yeah.
But a very big one. I mean, it's go big or go home. He's like a game show host. Tell me, were there any game show host inspos, and how did you create this larger-than-life TV persona? And I want some hosting tips.
Okay, there were a bunch. We were looking, Edgar and I were talking about, all the different sort of versions of game show hosts, and also just TV hosts, period, of different shows. And then, literally, I feel like it was a few nights before I was going to, start shooting. And I remember the documentary for Jerry Springer just landed, and I thought, this is interesting. Someone who was just a guy, with a role, and then it started to take off, and he started to feed into it as well, and sort of bring out the worst of people in many ways. But also felt like he was not complicit at the same time. So I feel like, oh, that's interesting of how he sort of plays with the audience in that way, and how he gets the audience in the palm of his hand to the point where they're yelling out Jerry, somebody who actually wasn't very well known, but then they made everyone believe he was, which was interesting. So we talked a lot about that. So there's a lot of inspiration, but I feel like there's a lot of different hosts in Bobby T.
As a theater guy, did you love the theatrics of it all?
I did. I didn't realize how much. I was a little intimidated. The first time he showed me the set, I was like, oh my God, it's this beautiful stage arena. And he said, oh, and you'll have 500 background as well, and you'll be playing with them. And I was a little intimidated at first, but then something about my old Broadway chops, just sort of got in there, and I felt like very much I sort of had to make sure they were in the palm of my hand and just really own the stage.
Sir, Mr. Josh Brolin, you, in my humble opinion, played one of the top 2 greatest villains of all time in cinematic history. So let's talk about Dan Killian. What brand of evil is he?
What, is he going to supersede?
Is he going to supersede?
God, that's a lot of pressure. That's a lot of
Yeah,
pressure.
what
I
do you
don't know. I
think?
mean, that'll have to be up to you, but I did like playing him. You know, a few people have asked, like, what is it about you that's, why do they keep choosing you as a villain? And I would like to know that too.
Because you're charming. You're charming.
Because I'm charming. Yeah, but this, to me, this guy completely embraces. I like what it gets into, because it's the poor, it's the rich taking advantage of the poor, and then there's no real middle class. And then where does this guy fit into it? And is he just doing his job, or is there something that when people are given this perception of power, they can't help but become corrupt with it? And I'm saying all this stuff, by the way, at the same time that I'm thinking that Glenn said real bullets, and I still can't get beyond that moment. You said real bullets. Were real bullets shot at you?
Not real bullets.
Okay,
Come on,
I'm just
Josh, I mean,
asking.
At the
I don't know
character,
what
at the
Edgar
character,
does.
at the
I don't
character.
know
all right,
how.
all right. Is this how the whole press tour is going to go? You're going to just fact check things.
This is
I'm
just
just
the
calling
start of it.
people out.
Just for me, I always get people to fire real bullets at me just so I.
What? I don't know. Maybe I don't know.
I'm
You're like
method, baby.
Daniel Day-Lewis is gone, and you're in now. I don't know.
I'm the Daniel Day-Lewis of action movies now.
He's going so method. He's going so method.
It's a fun movie. We had a good time together. Coleman was amazing when we got there. What he presented, what Coleman said when he presented the set, it's so overwhelming, and yet you have to be respectful to him because he's created it. So you're like, wow, this is great, but also kind of shitting your pants because you go, this is way bigger than I ever thought it was.
Yes.
But yeah, I think it's relevant and extremely entertaining.
Can you give me one song that is going to be in this that you put in the film?
Well, the one in the trailer is in the movie. Underdog by Sly and the Family Stone. I'll say that much.
Sir, you can write your own ticket right now. Why did you want to do this? What was it about this that you wanted to, take real bullets for?
It's going to be the full headline. I mean, when I first moved out to LA to give this job a shot, Edgar, I wrote down on on the email, which I will show you this email at one point. I wrote down 5 names. Edgar was one of the 5 names that I was like, I'm going to work with this guy. These are one of my favorite filmmakers that I want to work with. So Edgar, over the course of over the years, we've become great friends. I didn't even know this was coming down the pipe. And I knew, and then all of a sudden somebody said, hey, I think you may be batting your name around for this thing. And so I tried not to get too excited. And then when Edgar was like, hey, you're going to be playing Ben Richards, I lost my mind. And then immediately he was like, by the way, you don't really have the role yet. Stephen King also has to weigh in. I was
that's
like,
right.
Oh, shit.
And I sent him a link to Hitman.
Yeah.
I did. I said, watch this. And he loved it.
Popped the champagne. And then you told me it's not done yet. Stephen
That's
King has
right,
to watch
that's
it.
right.
And he loved it. And so thank God.
Thanks, Hitman.
Before I let you go, you teased on stage Brisket, a set photo. Is Brisket actually in this movie? Can we break this news at least? Is Brisket in this movie?
You want to spoil that now?
No, we're not going to spoil anything.
That has to be a yes. If it was a no, you'd say no.
Brisket was very much a strong mascot.
Such a diva. Such a diva.
Yeah. Yeah. Not no. He does have his own chair that says best boy on set.